Good morning, my dear students. I am Roy Thomas and I have been teaching in Berlin for the last 35 years. Today the topic of our discussion is limits of real functions. And as all of us know, limits is the very fundamental concept in differential calculus. And the whole theory of limits, it's based on functions. The basic concepts in limit is that of functions. And we know a function is usually denoted by the symbol y is equal to f of x. This is the common symbol for a function. And in y equal to f of x, x is independent and y is dependent. And what's the meaning that y is a function of x? As the variable x changes, whenever there is a change in x, and what do you mean by change? Either an increase or a decrease, and that is change. And whenever there is a change in x, if there is a corresponding change in y, we say y is a function of x. And if x and y are changing in the same direction, that is, the dependent variable moves in the same direction of the independent variable, we say y equal to f of x is an increasing function. So what's the meaning that y equal to f of x is a decreasing function? The variables are moving in the opposite direction. When the independent variable increases, if there is a corresponding decrease in the dependent variable, they are moving in the opposite direction, we say y equal to f of x is a decreasing function. And a very good example for an increasing function is that your marks is an increasing function of your hard work. Your marks is an increasing function of your hard work. So this is the independent variable x and this is the dependent variable y. So what's the meaning that marks is an increasing function of hard work. Whenever there is an increase in hard work, there is a corresponding increase in marks. So this is a message that I would like to give you before going into the details of limits and its properties. This is a message that I would like to give you. Your marks is an increasing function of your hard work. So what is the only mathematical way of making an increase in your marks? Make an increase in your hard work. And remember, hard work alone can give you very good ranks. Hard work alone can lead you to the IITs. Also, it can be regarded that marks is a decreasing function of laziness. Marks is a decreasing function of laziness. What is the meaning that marks is a decreasing function of laziness? As laziness increases, marks will go down. As laziness decreases, marks will go up. So these two things that I would like to give you as a message before going into the details of limits and its properties. And if a dependent variable depends only on one independent variable, if y is equal to f of x, a dependent variable is depending only on one independent variable, we usually call it a univariate function. A univariate function means a dependent variable depends on only one independent variable. And if dependent variable u depends on two independent variables x and y, if a dependent variable depends on two independent variables x and y, we say u equal to f of xy is a bivariate function. It's a bivariate function. So it's a trivariate function. A dependent variable depends on three independent variable x, y, z. If a dependent variable depends on three independent variables, that is a trivariate function. So how many variables are there in a trivariate function? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 independent and a dependent. So in general, if a dependent variable depends on several independent variables, what do you call that function? It is called a multivariate function. So what's the meaning of a multivariate function? A dependent variable u depends on several independent variables x1, x2, x3, etc. etc. So that is a multivariate function. Actually, marks is a multivariate function. Marks depends on your intelligence, your hard work, the institution which you are studying, your books, your teachers. So there are many variables. So marks is a multivariate function.